Hello everyone and welcome back to Neptune's Child Tarot. Thank you guys all so much for being here, for your continued love and support here on the channel. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you that have donated to the channel, have been booking private readings with me, and have left such beautiful comments. I am truly grateful to connect with each and every one of you, and so grateful to hear those of you that are resonating with the reading so much. Thank you all for your presence. I truly appreciate all of you. So today's pick a card reading, we are doing how can you find happiness and fulfillment? Okay, so we do have 3 crystals here for you guys to choose from. If by chance you do feel drawn to more than one crystal, that is perfectly okay for today's reading. We are going to be putting in one of these cards to help you with choosing for those of you that do need a little bit more help. But if you already feel drawn to a specific crystal, the timestamps will be down below, so it'll take you directly to your reading. We are going to be adding in more oracle cards, so we'll choose one for now, and then once we get into your specific group, then we will pull some additional cards and then also throw in some tarot there to get some more information from Spirit. So how can you find happiness and fulfillment? So let's see. For group 1, you are, I can't remember what this crystal is. Let me think for a moment. Group 1. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? Let me just shuffle these cards and then hopefully the name will come to me. It's just like totally slipped my mind right now. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? Group 1. Mookaite Jasper. There you go. Mookaite Jasper for group 1. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? Group 1. Okay, so we have divine guidance. Group 2 with the Citrine. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? Group 2 with Citrine. We have Soul's Journey. I'll give you guys a closer look in just a moment. Group 3 with the yellow Fluorite. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? We have Message from Afar. Okay, so group 1, we have divine guidance, and that is with this Mookaite Jasper. Group 2, we have card number 21, Soul's Journey, and it says, living from soul opens me to the magic that exists when I surrender to divine manifestation on its own terms and timing. And that is with the Citrine. Group 3, you are Message from Afar, and that is with this yellow Fluorite. Okay, so those are the choices for today. Like I said, if you do feel drawn to more than one of the groups, we are going to be adding more of these cards in and then pulling some tarot. How can you find happiness and fulfillment in your life? Group 1 with divine guidance and the Mookaite Jasper. Group 2 with Soul's Journey and Citrine. Group 3 with Message from Afar. and the yellow fluorite. Timestamps will be down below for you guys, and I will see you at your reading. Hi, Group 1. So those of you that resonated with the Mookaite, Jasper, and Divine Guidance, this is going to be your reading today. So the first oracle card we have out here is Divine Guidance. So first and foremost, I feel like there is a need for looking within the self. So self-reflection is going to be very important towards listening to what soul desires you have, because sometimes, and I feel like this is something that we're all guilty of doing, because we are human, you know, and we are conscious beings, and we all have an ego, okay? Sometimes that ego might lead us towards certain desires that we might think are going to bring us happiness and fulfillment in our life, and sometimes we do end up choosing, you know, something that our ego desires, and it may not necessarily lead us to the fulfillment we're really looking for. So it is important for us to take time to really self-reflect and really deep dive into getting connected in with your intuition, which is, I like to think of this as your compass throughout life, throughout your journey here. And so when we can connect in with the intuition, your soul is going to communicate with you and let you know what desires you have. Truly, once your fears and doubts and self-limiting beliefs are kind of removed, where you can then access that information about what types of things, paths, careers, life experiences, places even that you want to journey to, and what you want to experience in your life that could really help you to choose more so with intention. So you live a life that is more rewarding and truly more fulfilling on a soul level, and you really feel that sense of happiness from within the self. I'm also a person who believes that happiness is not a destination. I have moved many different times in my life, more than I care to admit. And sometimes we believe that moving to a new place is going to make us happy. And I'm sure that those of you that resonate with that, you might find that sometimes, you know, that happiness that you feel initially, like if, especially if it's a place that you really wanted to move to, that it could make you happy, but at the end of the day, you're left with yourself, you know? So if there are underlying things that are going on a subconscious level that you have not dealt with yet, then doesn't matter where you are. There are still things that you might have to work through that could be blocking your ability to be able to experience joy in that present moment, you know? So I know I've gone through it a bunch of times. So it is important for you to kind of really take some time to reflect and silence the mind, quiet the mind. The intuition speaks quietly, softly, in whispers. The ego is a little louder, noisy, and more fear-based. And your intuition, your spirit team, guardian angels, ancestors, passed on loved ones, spirit guides are going to communicate you from a place of love, and really kind of come through with that guidance of what is best ultimately for your highest good. So I do feel like this is a really important piece here, is divine guidance, is you're receiving that guidance from within the self and not looking outside of yourself for happiness or for fulfillment. You really feel that from within the self, and feel confident and intentional in what it is that you're choosing to, you know, bring into your life, and knowing that everything that is there is something that you have taken time to think about. Do I want this here? And that may also help you too, is just kind of reassessing and reevaluating where you're at in your life right now. And if everything, right, that is in your life right now is something that does bring you joy, is it something that brings you happiness or fulfillment? So this could be, you know, taking that time to look at those things and decide, what is it that I need to release? What is it that I need to let go of? Maybe it is a specific job. Maybe it is the place that you live, the environment that's not, maybe for some of you, an environment that's not very inspiring. Or if you're someone who wishes to have more like-minded people and friendships that are important to you, you know, you might feel like the place that you live in doesn't really, you don't really vibe with it. The work environment, the friendships that you have, the relationships. So just kind of doing a little bit of an overhaul on your life and making sure that you're happy, you know, with those things. So you can start the process of kind of eliminating or letting go of things that are no longer aligned. And maybe once upon a time they were aligned with you in that state, but you can always, you know, make it a practice to check in with yourself to say, okay, how am I feeling? How am I doing? How's my mental health? How's my emotional well-being? How's my spiritual well-being? Are my needs being met with whatever you've got going on? And how can I change it so that I do feel that I'm living a life that feels more rewarding? So let's pull some more oracle cards here. And I have 3 decks mixed together. I will put them down in the description box for those of you that are wanting to know. So let's see. How can you find more happiness and fulfillment, group 1? How can you find more happiness and fulfillment in your life? Miracles. And with this here, I feel like this is you truly believing that what it is that you dream about, what you wish for, that it is something that is possible for you. Okay? That miracles do happen, that, you know, you can completely change your life if you choose to. So let's see. We've also got quiet nourishes me. It connects me to the power of now, which is important, being present. We also have, I embrace my body. I honor and embrace all of my body. I am receptive to her specific needs. Okay. So this to me is, again, doing the little check-in here. The check-in with self. Especially the mental, emotional, physical as well. Does your body feel tired? Do you feel lethargic? Do you feel like you have brain fog? Do you feel stressed out? You know, you feel sad, you know, just really angry, you know, just checking in, taking care of your vessel, making time for rest. I don't think I'm going to be able to fit another one up here, so let's just keep it as 4. I think I might put them on the sides. Okay, so let's do a little bit more. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? How can group 1 find happiness and fulfillment? One more, please. One more for group 1. And I feel like a lot of what this message is saying here is it starts within you, right? Because if you're not happy to begin with, and doesn't matter where you go, you're still, at the end of the day, you're still left with you, right? Especially if there's unhealed wounds or limiting belief systems, you're going to bring those with you, you know, there you are. So we have blessings here. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? So starting with the self, within the self. We have birth and eternal flame. Let's see how we're going to do this. Make these fit in here. Yeah, and when I look at this Eternal Flame card, it reminds me of the heart's desires, your passions, connecting to the heart chakra. Let's see. Okay, let's do this. Sorry, guys. I want to make sure I can see all this when I'm looking at your tarot as well. It reminds me of that song. I don't even know who sings it now. Was it from the 80s? That song, Eternal Flame. Some of you might be too young for that, but it was a really beautiful song. Okay, so bottom of the deck, look who is here, fear. All right, so let's pull the tarot. Blessings, miracles. To me, this is about you being open to receive. You know, this is birthing something new, connecting into your heart space and birthing, creating. But with the quiet nourishes me. It also reminds me of like the Empress energy. The cycles of the moon. Knowing when to rest. When to plant seeds. Nurturing those seeds. Cultivating those seeds. And then moving into that time of rest again. To restore, replenish your energy so that you are ready to create something new. So let's see. And I feel like when you're doing it in the quiet, it's more purposeful, it's more intentional, right? Because you are connecting within the self. You're not just kind of like where the mind is scattered and just noisy and thinking and kind of just like making decisions so quickly that you're not really being intentional with it. You're not taking that time for reflection. You're rushing through life or even on autopilot, right? So here, where Spirit is saying, how can you find more happiness and fulfillment or find happiness and fulfillment? It's connecting into your heart space, into your intuition, so that what you do birth is something that you feel happy, like, wow, I created this, I made this, I brought this into physical manifestation. And I feel like it's also important to understand too, we're always manifesting consciously and unconsciously. And if our mind is, you know, thinking a lot of negative things, lots of fear-based thinking, limiting beliefs going on in the background, then we can unconsciously manifest situations into our life that we're not happy with. It happens. So how can you find happiness and fulfillment? Ace of Cups. Yep, look at that. We have Justice here. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? The Six of Pentacles. Look at that. The High Priestess. I love this. This is just what we've been talking about here. Okay, I'm going to leave that in reverse. Page of Wands in reverse. Bottom of the deck. The Fool. Oh my goodness. Okay, and then Four of Cups is right underneath that. The Moon. The Ten of Wands. The Eight of Wands. The Five of Pentacles. Yep, so look in this Four of Wands card. She's pregnant. Like she's birthing something. Okay, so at the bottom of this other deck here, we had fear. So that I'm feeling kind of ties into this Page of Wands in reverse, because the Page of Wands, when it's in the upright position, it is about pursuing a passion, a desire. It's about allowing yourself to journey, to travel, to adventure, to explore, to try new things. It's done so in a way where we kind of take ourselves back to that beginner's mindset, where we feel enthusiastic and excited about doing something new, beginning something new. And we give ourselves permission to explore and to see it. And it kind of makes me feel like what Spirit's saying to you here is allow yourself to meander on your pathway, because that meandering is going to lead you to new ways of looking at things, discovering new things, new paths that you're not seeing right now. And fear is a big block to that. It could be fear that we're wrong, that we're, our intuition is blocked, or that we don't trust ourselves. The Ace of Cups is feelings, emotions, intuition. It's also creativity, right? And so I kind of think of this as the heart space, as the heart chakra, you being connected in that way. The Six of Pentacles is about giving and receiving. So I'm looking at this as you being in a state of receptivity to listen to what your heart really desires. What lights you up? What brings a smile to your face, or joy, or the, what do you call those? The tingles, right? That you get when you think about something that makes you feel excited, right? And the High Priestess, your intuition. You also have the Justice card here, which is about making decisions, the right decisions, the right choices. Because what you can do also, justice is, could be looked at as kind of like weighing your options, right? Because the way that you want to do this with justice being present here is to take some time to think about your past and where you're at right now. Your choices have led you, right, to where you are at in this present moment. Now, where you're at right now could either be that your intuition has led you into this place, or perhaps your ego. Then you can take some time to think about, how happy am I right now with these choices that I have made? And was I using my intuition, or was it more or less coming from a place of the ego, which, if it's the unhealthy aspect of the ego rooted in fear, then we may have made the safe choice, or what made us feel the most secure, or perhaps, it was the safe move that we've made. It felt comfortable to us at the time. But when we do so more so from the intuition, and we feel guided in a way that we know that this is our higher self that is leading or guiding us, then we feel more at ease. We might feel more at peace or calm with that. Now that's not to say that fear can't come up, right? Especially when we're in this full energy. Although the Fool is fearless. It's a fearless energy. It's just about letting it all go and just going for it, right? But fear can be a block to us taking that leap of faith and stepping outside of our comfort zone. And so this can be a very self-limiting energy, right? Where we are too afraid of stepping outside of that comfort zone, or to doing something that's completely different in our life, right? That we've never done before. We've never tried before. And that could lead to, with this Four of Cups right underneath here. Let's see, let me bring this up here. There's our Fool. The Moon is the uncertainty. It's the fear of the unknown. The Moon is our intuition, but it can also, the Moon card is about the subconscious mind. And sometimes in the subconscious, there are a lot of irrational fears, insecurities, doubts, the fear of the unknown, things that we have suppressed, right, from previous experiences, or even for those of you that believe in past lifetimes, right, fears that may have carried over from a past lifetime into this lifetime. that are kind of beneath the surface, right? In the waters of the subconscious mind that are just lingering there. And so that can lead us into this Four of Cups energy where we feel that there's opportunities right there and we don't take them. We hold ourselves back. And that is what that Ten of Wands is. Okay? The resistance there. Resisting the change here with the Fool. So the Four of Cups can lead to missed opportunities. It can lead us to also feeling discontent and unhappy because there is an opportunity for us to change, right, what our situation might be. But if the opportunity is right there and the universe is like, okay, you want to change, you want to be happy, you want more fulfillment, here you are. But then in comes fear, right? In comes the insecurities. In comes the self-doubt. So this is a little bit of a hurdle, right, to kind of get over, is learning to trust yourself. And with justice, take some time, like I said, to think about your past decisions and where they've led you. Sometimes if we go against the intuition and what our inner knowing has told us, and we're saying, okay, you know, I'm going to do this thing, and our intuition told us completely something else, and we make the decision anyway. You know, the Justice card talks about the laws, the universal laws of karma, cause and effect. Okay? So we have to understand that with every right action or intention that we have, that there is something else that we may experience in our life, whether good or bad. And so you might notice, okay, I went against my intuition, what my intuition told me, and darn it, I should have known better. I knew it. I knew I should have chose the other thing. And then we end up in a situation and we're just like, wow, how did I get here? Right? So take some time to look at the past choices that you've made, where they led you, what kind of path they led you on. Did you feel happy, you know, with the outcome? So when we can kind of weigh that decision with logic, but also the intuition from a clear mind, right? And this is where it's also important for taking time in the quiet, because that's where that internal guidance comes in. When we silence the mind and we have clarity, we have the breakthrough. That inner voice can shine through. So this is going to be a big hurdle, right, for some of you with knowing, and because when we're in that Four of Cups energy, we could be feeling sorry for ourselves, we could be feeling bored, we could be feeling indifferent towards life and kind of, like I said, on autopilot sometimes. And there's plenty of opportunities, right, that of things that we feel guided towards. You know, we could say to ourselves, oh, I've always wanted to do that, but we're too afraid to do it. I've always wanted to live in that place, but we don't take the steps towards making that dream happen. So I feel like this is where Spirit is really wanting you to take some time to quiet your mind, because I do feel like there are passions that you have. Maybe some of you want to travel more. Some of you want to pursue a passion that you have, start something new, begin something new. But this is about you allowing yourself to flow, to be open to change, to believing, because the Fool is about believing that things are possible, that there's infinite potential that you can connect into. What else do I want to say? I want to look at why your Page of Wands is in reverse. So let's see. The Ace of Wands. Look at that. Look at that doorway right there. The Ace of Wands is a new passion, creative spark, inspiration. Okay. What is this Page of Wands in reverse? Judgment. Judgment is answering the call of our soul. So also making a judgment call, making a decision. And here there's like a little chess piece here. And I kind of looking at like that as like you're making your move. It is a big decision. Six of Wands. Six of Wands is about success, victory, an accomplishment. It can also be about recognition or validation. So some of you could be looking for external sources of validation or approval. And sometimes this is looking outside of ourselves for a sign. That intuitive divine inspiration that comes through, that is your sign. That intuitive little message that pops up, that is your sign, right? But sometimes we get those little intuitive messages and then we're still questioning it. We're still asking spirit for a sign. Right? We're like, okay, the universe has told me, gave me this sign and that sign and that sign. I had a dream about it. I had this little divine inspiration that came through. So a lot of this is really learning to connect and more, really building that relationship with your higher self, and learning to trust yourself more. Right? Getting comfortable with that. And this could even be with like small decisions that you make, right? So it kind of builds up that confidence that you have at yourself where you know, okay, my intuition has told me this message and I know that my intuition is spot on. My intuition never steers me wrong. Okay? Your intuition is always, your higher self is always going to lead you to people, situations for your highest good. Sometimes with the ego, right? With the unhealthy aspect of the ego, again, we might move into ego's desires, right? Like, let's just say as an example, and the easiest one for me to think of is with relationships, romantic partnerships, where you see a whole bunch of red flags in a person and your ego desires that person because they're so attractive and they're so good to you sometimes, and your intuition is like, no, don't do it, but the ego's like, be quiet, intuition. And then we kind of go into it anyways, and we end up finding out, that situation with that person ended up in a really not so good place, right? And our intuition told us, right, at the beginning, don't do it. But the ego was like, nah, I'm going to do it anyway, right? And so, yeah. So that's where, with the Justice card here, you want to look at what happened when the last time you didn't listen to your intuition. And then what happens when you do, okay? So yeah, some of you could be looking for those external sources of validation or approval, people pleasing, is this choice going to make other people happy? Is it going to make family members feel happy other than you, right? Where you end up putting other people's needs and happiness ahead of your own. So that's going to be important for you here as well, so fear, a big block, like Spirit is saying here, could be a big thing. So let's see if there's anything else. Let's see. I feel like I actually want to clarify this High Priestess card here. Okay, what is this High Priestess card? High Priestess. The Queen of Cups. Yep. So again, it's your intuition, your heart space. The Queen of Swords. Is she? Looks like I might have to cover this one a little bit. Queen of Swords. So we've got logic, clear thinking, intuition. Same thing that's happening here in the Justice card. Right? Because sometimes, like I said, our decisions can lead us to unfavorable circumstances. We need to think about, is this fair? Is this balanced? Is this the right thing for me? The Justice card asks us, when we're making decisions, is it for the highest good? Is it for your highest good? Or the good of all of those who are involved in that decision? You know? And I feel like a good rule of thumb with this too is, and this might be hard because for some of you it's a need for stepping outside of yourself, taking a step back and looking at it from the outside in, you know, like a friend who's you tell your situation to and then they give you advice, you know, that helps you to kind of get another opinion. But what I mean by that is that when you step outside of yourself and you ask yourself, do you really feel that whatever this is that you're wanting to do, wanting to create, wanting to manifest, do you feel like the highest version of yourself, your higher self? Do you feel like your higher self would tell you, there's that rabbit again, you guys, coming into your reading. There's a reading I posted like, what, a day or two ago? I don't know if it was this channel or the other channel, but when I was recording Pile 1's reading, there was a rabbit that comes into my yard, just feasting on the grass. And it's sitting outside again, just staring at me, eating the grass. So when you make that choice, do you feel like your higher self would tell you to go ahead with it? You know, that it is the best possible decision that you could make for yourself. Okay. What is this High Priestess energy here? Logic and intuition. And we've got the Emperor here. Look at how that owl is sitting right on top of that pyramid. Wisdom, perspective. So we have all this feminine energy here. The Queens, the High Priestess, and then we have the masculine energy here, which is the Emperor, Aries. This is about leadership. This is about bringing form and structure, discipline, organization, strategy, right, to whatever ideas that are kind of coming up in your mind. The masculine energy is about action, right? Decisive action, getting something done, looking at the bigger picture of things, right? This could be the way that you kind of look at your life, kind of like I was talking about earlier. Laying it all out on the table. Reevaluating. Right? Taking inventory, basically, of everything that's in your life right now. Even if there's certain things about yourself, right, that you don't like. Knowing that you have the power to change it. Okay? I feel like using both the feminine and the masculine energies, right, are something that we need, both of them, in balance. And I'm noticing that we have balance that was right underneath that Fool card. I'm sorry, the Fear card, balance here. We need both the masculine and the feminine to work together. Because this is going to help you with the feminine energy being the creation. The masculine energy brings form and structure into what we're birthing, into what we're creating. Okay. So let's see if there's any additional advice, guidance that Spirit has for you. Group 1, any additional advice or guidance that Spirit has for you? We have the Empress. Is she wearing clothes? Yes, she is. Okay. So we've got the Empress and the Emperor here. As the Empress is your advice, which is, again, creating, birthing, nurturing, knowing that you're worthy, right, of what it is that you dream of. You've got miracles here and blessings. The Empress is also about abundance, prosperity. You've got the Knight of Swords here. The Knight of Swords is about focusing on something, taking swift action. Look at that, 9 of Cups. 9 of Cups is wish fulfillment, contentment, happiness, satisfaction, feeling satisfied. So I feel like this is also you truly believing yourself. The Knight of Swords is also about bravery and courage, right? We have something that we want, go after it, right? Don't let fear be the block here that holds you back. Again, think about the last time, the last time you didn't listen to your intuition and you went against it, and then it kind of led you to dealing with the consequences of your action, your decision, right? It happens to all of us. I'm dealing with one right now, actually, in my life. And I'm just like, oh no. But you know what? We're going to change it around. We're going to fix it. We're going to fix it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that is all that I have for you, Group 1. I do hope this was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next reading. Hi, Group 2. So those of you that resonated with the Citrine and card number 21, Soul's Journey, it says, living from soul opens me to the magic that exists when I surrender to divine manifestation on its own terms and timing. Okay, so our topic today is how can you find happiness and fulfillment? So we are going to be pulling some more oracle cards here just to kind of get a clear picture of what Spirit's advice is to you. But I do feel like this is important to consider because oftentimes we try to control the outcome. And sometimes there are certain things that we feel that we desire, and they may not necessarily, not all the time, but sometimes they do come from our ego's desires versus living from the soul, from the intuition. And so in that moment, the ego's desire might kind of take over, and that sometimes can lead us to certain experiences that don't really bring us the fulfillment we were really looking for, because we're not really living from the soul. We're living from the ego. Okay, and what we think is going to be best for us, or we think is going to bring us happiness and fulfillment, when it really doesn't. And a perfect example of that is sometimes you might hear stories of people who, you know, say, oh, I wish I was rich, or I wish I had, you know, all this money, or I'll be happy when this, I'll be happy when that happens. And then it happens and happiness is nowhere to be found. Fulfillment is nowhere to be found. We are all kind of guilty, right, of saying to ourselves at some point in our life, sometimes many times, I'll be happier when I'm in a relationship. I'll be happier when I get married, for some of you. I'll be happier when I have a job like this, or I'll be happier when I move to this place. And then we do those things, and once we get there, it's you're not happier. You don't feel more fulfilled. Okay. And this is very similar to a message that I was just telling group one, although I feel like your pile could be different. But it's kind of like we kind of place our happiness outside of ourself, when happiness needs to start from within the self. Okay. It's not, happiness is not a destination. I've known plenty of people in my own life that I hear them talking and saying, "Oh, I'll be happy when I move here. I'll be happy when I get that job. I'll be happy once I'm finally in a relationship with this person," and then it doesn't happen. You know? So, or when we try to force certain situations, right? Because we think that is what's going to give us happiness. So let's see what else is coming through for you, group two. So how can you find happiness and fulfillment? And I do have 3 decks mixed together here, so I always put the decks that I'm using in the description box for you guys. But all of these work really well together. So we've got 26, heart healing. My courageous healing journey my courageous healing journey brings me personal awakening and a deeper relationship with myself. Okay. So for some of you, there could be certain pain that you were holding on to from previous experiences in your life, whether that be from childhood, your teenage years, or your life up until this point. And sometimes when we're carrying a lot of that energy, no matter what kind of feelings it is, whether it's anger, resentment, grief, rejection, anything that we're feeling, that can sometimes consume us, right? And kind of take over the mind, the body, the spirit, and block us from feeling joy, genuine happiness, and therefore leading to a lack of fulfillment, because it's kind of like we're not even present, right? We're worried about stuff that's going to happen in the future and feeling anxious about it. We're living in the past because of certain experiences that we're having a difficult time with overcoming and releasing and letting go of. So I do feel for some of you that chose this pile that healing is going to be your starting point, because by releasing old energy, it is going to help you to kind of open your heart space up to really experience more joy, more happiness, fulfillment. Think of it as Spirit is kind of showing me the example here of, like, let's just say you have a glass, okay? And that glass is filled with muddy water, okay? And that muddy water is symbolic of all of the old stuff, right, that you've gone through. And in order for you to kind of, because even, let's just say this, we take that glass that has muddy water in it, and we'll throw in happiness in there, okay? We throw happiness in there. You think you're going to feel it? Probably not, right? Because it's all blocked up and clouded up with all that other mud that's in there. So by you cleansing, clearing, purifying your energy, right, with healing and releasing and letting go, it's going to help that water in that glass to be more clear. So when happiness is inside, right, within there, you're going to really feel it. Happiness is clear to you, right? Fulfillment is clear to you. It's not being all mucked up with, full of all that mucky, murky water that's in there. Okay? So healing could be a big thing. So let's see what else. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? We have quiet nourishes me, number 27. And it says, it connects me to the power of now. Okay, how are we feeling in the present moment? Where is our mind at every day? Okay, so checking in with self most certainly. Let's see what else. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? We have the god of the underworld, and it says something which no longer serves you is about to end. So this again is talking about that whole letting go, perhaps for some of you, letting something go, releasing something that you're still holding on to. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? We have the angel of abundance. A steady flow of abundance is about to manifest. And I feel like this is you putting yourself in a place where you're open to receive something new. You're releasing, letting go, clearing, purifying energy, and allowing in something new. Opening yourself up to receive. How can you receive, right, that happiness that Spirit is trying to give to you if your cup is full of that muddy water? Okay. Let's see. We have in the flow. When I am in the flow, magic happens. Okay. Let's see. That's gonna work. One more for group 2. We have fear. Okay. Now, fear is also a huge block. I'm noticing also this big yellow energy here with fear. This reminds me a lot of, I mean, you do have a lot of oranges and yellows here, reds, oranges, and yellows. This is the lower chakras, okay? The root chakra, red, the sacral chakra, orange, the solar plexus, yellow. The solar plexus is about your I am presence, your confidence, your power, yourself. The root chakra helps to make you feel secure within yourself, okay? It also has to do with our needs being met, basic needs being met, right? And you have to be your own sense of security, right? We can't feel a sense of security because of someone else. So this is learning how to stand on your own, learning how to be self-sufficient. And then with the sacral energy, this is your creativity. This is your sensuality. This is your passion, your fire. Okay? So when we can have that good foundation, right? This is going to help us to experience higher vibrations, higher frequencies of energy. Happiness, joy is a very high vibrational energy, right? So if we're not grounded, right, the root chakra, if we don't feel like we can create, if we don't feel like we're worthy of abundance, we don't feel like we can manifest it, we don't feel like we can create it, we still are living in trying to get those needs being met, right? We can start to experience more joy and more fulfillment in our life once we stabilize our own energy. So starting with the root chakra, right? Making sure that you, like I said, you feel secure within yourself, you feel grounded, you're present, your basic needs are being met. You start to feel more confident within yourself, and you feel worthy of creating or manifesting, right? Even abundance. Once you have a good foundation, right, to begin with, then we can start experiencing joy, right? Happiness. Because let's put it this way. Let's just say that you could be someone who your root chakra, sacral chakra, solar plexus, they're all out of alignment. They're all out of balance, right? We're constantly worrying about financial security, or we have some type of needs that are being neglected. Let's just say, maybe it's love, that we feel like we fear abandonment, we fear rejection, we fear that we're not desirable, we feel not attractive, we have low self-esteem, low confidence, and the universe brings you in a situation that is just what you've asked for, right? Let's just say it's a dream or a wish that you have, but yet those energies within you are not stabilized. Meaning that even if the universe brings that in for you, are you ready for it? Are you open to receive it? Are you prepared to see the beauty in what that opportunity is being handed to you, right? Our first need is to have those other things be met first. So the way that I like to describe this is, let's just say that with the root chakra, that you are someone who has a fear of abandonment, a fear of rejection, okay? Or even feelings of unworthiness and feeling really low. And then you have this, dream job position that comes in, and there's your opportunity. And you start to feel like you are too afraid to go after it, that you feel that you're not going to be good enough for that job or that position. And so we may not look at that opportunity in the same way, right? As someone who is confident, someone who is grounded and secure within themselves. They can appreciate that opportunity in a very different way, right? So I would definitely say, as your advice here to you, group 2, work on your root chakra, your sacral chakra, and your solar plexus, because these chakras are going to be super important for you to be able to help to connect to the upper chakras, the heart being in the center. The heart is kind of like the gateway, the access point, the middle. Okay, there's 7 main energy centers in the body. It starts from the root, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus, then the heart. And then after the heart is the throat, the third eye, and the crown. And so in order for us to genuinely experience life, right, and truly living from the heart space with love and, experiencing all these beautiful emotions, how are you going to experience them if the bottom half, okay, is blocked or not in the right state? It's just kind of like trying to build a house and your foundation is faulty, right? You're not going to have that firm structure. You're not going to have something that's long standing if the foundation is not there. So in order for you to truly feel happiness and fulfillment in your life, this does have to start within you. Now, your root chakra, because I know some of you are going to say, how can I do that? Your root chakra is really about being grounded, okay? So connecting more to nature, connecting more to Mother Earth, spending time outdoors, spending time in your backyard if you've got a grass back there, taking your shoes off, okay? Putting your feet on the ground. If you have a park that's close by, walking around barefoot on the grass, putting your back up against a tree, exercising, dancing, walking is going to be something that helps you to feel present. So is meditation, because it helps you to focus on the present moment, here and now, okay? Quieting the mind. With your sacral chakra is your seat of creativity. This is where your passion, your sensuality, your sexuality is located. And so this is also a water-based chakra. This has to do with your emotions, your feelings, right? So if there's feelings of shame or guilt, remorse, heavy feelings and emotions, these are things that you do want to work through. Okay, if you have any type of traumas that you've gone through, then that can also be stored, okay, within that sacral chakra, depending on what kind of trauma it is. It could also be in the root chakra. So again, we want to start from the ground up, right, the root up, and then start bringing that energy upwards, right? As you're working on stabilizing each of those chakras, you could start to eat foods that are those colors, okay, red, orange, yellow, whether that's your fruits or your vegetables, even wearing clothing, colors, surrounding yourself with certain colors, right? Yeah, surrounding yourself with certain colors, eating those fruits, vegetables, colors that are in that same thing. Some of you that like to work with certain crystals, okay, can bring in a certain energy, a certain vibration. Working on your self-esteem, working on your confidence in yourself, working on feeling worthy. If you're someone who has abandonment wounds, rejection wounds, scarcity, poverty consciousness, we want to work on healing those, right? Because again, that's your foundation. That is the foundation of which everything else is built upon. Fear is a huge block, okay? Because this can be something that keeps our vibration at a lower frequency. Fear is a very low vibrational energy. Now, fear is something that happens naturally, right? As kind of like a warning for us. And it happens, right? When we're about to do something where that fear just, that is the type of response that is elicited by the body to give us kind of like a warning, right? It's natural, it's normal. But when we live in a fear-based vibration as our baseline energy, right? That is when we are kind of stuck in that frequency, in that vibration. And we don't want that to happen, right? We don't want to be stuck like that, always rooted in fear. So we want to take a look at where those fears are coming from, why they're there. So a lot of this for you is going to be really working on the self, right? Understanding yourself on a deeper level. Why do I have fear? Why do I feel insecure? Why don't I feel confident? Because it's all coming from somewhere, right? So the more or less you can take that time to kind of go inwards and to do the healing that is necessary, it is going to help you to experience joy and happiness. Another good example of this is, let's just say that you go through a really bad breakup, right? And you're in pain. And, you're really telling the universe, I want my soulmate, I want to meet my person, but you still haven't healed from that past relationship, right? And in comes the soulmate. Are you ready for that person? Right? Mentally, emotionally, or are you someone who's emotionally unavailable because you're still dealing with the past? So even if that person is the most amazing person that you could have ever asked for, are you in a state to receive? Right? So this is where we have to kind of take a look at where our own energy is at and understand that the universe responds to your vibration. If we are in a lower vibrational state of being, right, as our baseline, we are going to experience a life in that energetic frequency, right? Which may not be the most favorable. It may not be something that you feel happy or fulfilled by, but it is a reflection of where our vibration is at currently, right? So if we're looking at life and saying, okay, no, I don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like my job, I don't like how I feel stressed out, I'm dealing with, friends that are not really good friends, I'm dealing with these unhealthy family situations, unhealthy relationship dynamics, what kind of energy are we putting out, right? Your reality that you experience is a direct reflection of your ideas, your thoughts, your belief systems. Sometimes those belief systems are limiting, right? Your feelings and your emotions. Everyone is a mirror, right? Everyone is a reflection in your life of your inner world, right? You allow yourself to receive what you believe you are worthy of, right? So if we have a self-limiting belief that, let's just say it has to do with poverty consciousness, right? And we see the world, our view of the world is lack. There's no opportunities there. I'm not abundant. I can't create. I can't manifest. That is the reality that we will experience. The universe does not speak a language. The universe responds to vibration, right? Fear is a huge one that blocks, it creates resistance, right? The universe wants to bring you what it is that you desire, but we have to align the vibration to that energy. We have to replace those negative thoughts and self-sabotaging thoughts and self-limiting beliefs about receiving it that run in the background, right, within our subconscious mind. We have to make those unconscious beliefs that are blocking conscious. We have to be aware of them. We have to pay attention and be more self-aware of the thoughts that we have, right? Because we can unknowingly, unconsciously manifest certain people and situations into our life, and we're just like, how did I get here? Why is this happening right now? Right? Why am I going through this? Why am I experiencing this? Sometimes it's certain lessons, right, that we have to go through. And it may be something that our soul needs in order to help our soul to grow and evolve. But I certainly feel like you starting within yourself is going to be something huge with your healing, especially to releasing things that you could be holding on or have been holding on to for years. Okay, so your healing and removing those blockages is going to be something that really helps you to open up and free your energy. Again, go back to you being that glass of muddy water and start filtering that water out, right? So that that happiness that spirit put in there, right, gets illuminated and you can actually see it. Ah, there you are, happiness, right? All that water is clear for you to really feel joy and happiness. Otherwise, and this reminds me a lot of the Four of Cups energy, the Four of Cups in the tarot, which for those of you that are familiar with the Rider-Waite depiction of the Four of Cups, there's a person sitting down on the grass near a tree, and the legs are crossed, the arms are folded across the body, and there's a cup that's literally coming out of the sky like this. And that person that's in that picture is not even paying attention to it, right? That card is about boredom. It's about indifference. It's about having a blind spot, not paying attention to the beauty that's right around you, not paying attention to the opportunities that are there to change what our situation is. But instead we kind of sit in that energy of discontent and unhappiness and indifference. So even if something beautiful was right there, would we see it? Would we even realize that it was there? Right? We're not, because we're looking again through that lens of the muddy water. So the more that you can clear and purify your energy is going to help you to be more open to experiencing those higher vibrational energies, right? Joy, happiness, and feeling so fulfilled and so happy, right? You know, it's all, I feel like, also in perspective in the way that we're looking at something. Okay? Are we looking at it through the lens of insecurities and fears and, you know, lack of confidence and believing in ourselves, where let's just say you give two different people the same opportunity and one person's reaction to it is like pushing it away. No, I don't think I'm ready for that. I don't know. And then the other person that's more confident or has those their chakras where they've done that work, right? They're able to receive it. Where one person might be pushing it away and blocking it and resisting it because it might mean change that they're going to be uncomfortable with, where the other person that's done that inner work is like, yes, give it to me. I'm ready for it. I love it. I can be present and I can fully receive and experience this moment from a place of joy and happiness and excitement and enthusiasm, versus the other person who's looking at it and is like, meh, I'm not ready, or I don't feel like I'm worthy of it, right? And it's hard for us to get ourselves out of that state. I've certainly been there in my life many, many years ago, for a good majority of my life, where every single thing in my life I felt was negative. I was always anxious and worried and stressed out, and I would be that person who couldn't even relax at a party, even like my own children's birthday party, because my anxiety was so bad that I couldn't even relax enough to be present in that moment. My mind was like off scattered, thinking about 10 million other things, and just constantly worried. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this? What if that? And it was just so much so that it just took away from me my quality of life. That even if somebody was so excited and so happy around me, I was like that Debbie Downer and just pessimistic. you know? So, and I was felt very broken at that time in my life. I was dealing with a lot of depression, a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, a lot of resentment and anger and fear. And it just completely robbed me of so many years, right? And so this is where healing is so important for you to really kind of rebuild yourself and rebuild that foundation so that you are able to experience genuine joy and happiness in your life and you don't miss out on it any longer. Okay, so let's pull some tarot here and see what else we can add into this message for you, group two. But I feel for you, especially for those of you that are going through it. I totally feel for you because I remember what it felt like. And it wasn't a good feeling. Because I used to think the same thing. When am I going to be happy? Why am I suffering so much? You know, but it was me who continued to suffer, who didn't heal, who didn't see the importance of it, who didn't even know where to start, who didn't ask questions, who didn't ask for help, and just stayed in it because she didn't know what else to do. She didn't know how to help herself. Okay? This is where having people around you that are supportive. This is where asking for help comes in. This is where surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, who inspire you, you know, not put you darker into a deeper, darker hole and who drag you down into that. Okay, and keep you there. Or make you feel like you're just kind of stuck there. Okay, let's see what else for you, group two. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? The soul's journey. That also reminds me of the hermit energy. Reflection, introspection, healing, spending some time alone, setting boundaries, putting yourself first. Okay. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? The Two of Pentacles. For some of you, this is, you know, making yourself a priority. This is finding more balance in your life. You know, the Two of Pentacles can sometimes be when we're juggling too many things. We're just like, okay, I'm doing this and this and this, and I don't have any time for myself, and I don't feel happy because I'm doing this for that person, this for this person. I work so many hours and I don't have time for personal time. This is finding balance. Okay? Finding balance. Making choices, weighing your options. We have the Judgment card. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? The Fool in reverse. That is fear right there. We've got the Four of Swords in reverse, the Five of Swords in reverse. Can I fit another one? Probably not. Let's see. Let's try to get one more in here. Four of Swords in reverse. This is a very restless mind. I feel like there's also a need for working on being more self-aware of the self-sabotaging thoughts and behaviors. You know, being too afraid of making choices, decisions, holding yourself back from taking a leap of faith, going back and forth over something which leads to stagnancy in your life. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? There's the Ten of Cups. That is your happiness and fulfillment. So yeah, I would say working on also for those of you, I know not all of you resonate with this, but the Five of Swords can be a card of victim mentality. Okay, trust issues, feeling defeated, self-sabotaging thoughts, or behaviors. If your mind is feeling a little restless, scattered, you don't feel very grounded, there's certainly a need for grounding here. Okay. Stabilizing your energy. Because again, this is you experiencing happiness and fulfillment. It starts within you, right? If your mental health is not good, if your emotional well-being is not good, how are you very well going to experience joy and happiness and fulfillment? You're not, right? You can't. Because your mind and your heart and your feelings and your emotions are thinking about other things. You're not present, right? We're not present in that moment too. Like I was, like the example I gave you about being at a party. It was my children's party. And that wasn't just with my children's party. It's happened when I've gone out with friends. You know, when I went to this exciting event, like going to popular theme parks, where that day is supposed to be a magical day where you're there, you're with family, you're having fun. I couldn't even do that. I couldn't relax. I couldn't let loose. I couldn't smile and, you know, just stop my brain from thinking and thinking and thinking and worrying and stressing and anxiety. I couldn't be happy even if I wanted to in that moment because all of that was going on, right? So back then I didn't know about grounding and breathing techniques to help to make you feel, which is another thing for you. Some of you might benefit from deep breathing exercises because that'll help to kind of calm your mind, ground yourself so that you are present. Okay. I'm sure they have plenty of videos about that on YouTube with other creators. That would be something for you to learn too, is to kind of incorporate that into your daily practice of grounding, centering, stabilizing your energy so that you're then able to experiencing other emotions, feelings, have clarity, and be able to focus on what it is that you want to even allow yourself to be happy because all of that other stuff is out of the way. Okay, so judgment here is also about letting go. Okay, it's about releasing. It's about going through the rebirth process and letting go of anything, right, energetically that we don't need to be holding on to anymore. Resentment, anger, pain, sadness. Certainly takes some time to think about what you've gone through, right? Honor that. Honor the feelings, the emotions that come up. But it's also about the willingness to forgive, to let go, to forgive yourself or others if you feel that you're ready to do that. Sometimes it takes a while or sometimes it doesn't happen at all, you know? But it's about letting go so that we're no longer in a place of suffering, of holding on to that old stuff, right? Because suffering is a choice. And back then I chose suffering because I didn't know any different, right? You don't realize you're doing it to yourself. You don't realize it by holding on to it and keeping yourself stuck in that state of mind. And I was very much victim mentality back then. Okay. So this is going through the rebirth process. Commit yourself to transformation. Commit yourself to change. Let go of fears. Find more balance in your life to do the things that do bring you joy and happiness. To focus on the things that you want to incorporate into your life. I'm seeing temperance right underneath that as well with the 10 of Wands, and look who's here, the 8 of Swords, Page of Swords. So what Spirit is saying to you here, Wheel of Fortune, what Spirit is saying to you here, temperance is about finding balance, but it's also healing. This is balance and equilibrium. This is also transmuting energy. What do we want to transmute? All the pain, all the sadness, all the stuff we're holding on to. The 8 of Swords is negative thinking, self-imposed restrictions. The I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't change this. And that's all coming from that 5 of Swords, right? The 8 of Swords. The 10 of Wands is holding on to a lot of energetic weight, heaviness. Some of you, it could be that you've taken on too much responsibilities. You've got a lot on your plate. Maybe you're carrying a lot of stress, a lot of burdens, and some of that might not even be yours to carry. So take some time to reflect on what can I release? What can I let go? What is weighing me down? Is it that past relationship? Is it that thing that happened to you during childhood? Is it something that somebody said to you when you were going to school that's weighing on you heavily? If it's something that your parents said to you while you were growing up that just really stuck in your mind And it makes you feel like you can't really, you know, you feel guilty for choosing yourself. You feel guilty for, you know, what you want, what you dream about, you know, for whatever that reason might be. What can you release? What can you let go of? The Page of Swords is about observing in this case, I feel like. You're observing your thoughts. You're being more self-aware about how you hold yourself back, how much other stuff you have that is weighing you down, whether mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. How can you release? How can we lighten the load? How can we find more balance? That, by observing that and making those changes, that is what's going to help you to make positive change in your life and put you back in the state of flow again. Okay, in the flow. When I'm in the flow, magic happens. The Wheel of Fortune is about cycles. And it's also recognizing certain patterns that you have. Karmic cycles, karmic patterns that you keep yourself in, right? Like, let's just say that the universe kind of brings you opportunity to change, right? Into going after what you want, but you keep saying, it's not time yet. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next year. I'm not ready yet. I don't think I can do that, right? All the mind kind of holding you back. Start to pay attention to that. Start to pay attention to how many negative thoughts go through your mind, even just in a few hours. The negative self-talk. Be more aware of that. Start there. And then start to think like, no, why am I doing this right now? Correct yourself. Redirect your thoughts. Spend more time in stillness and quiet. Okay? Really working on grounding, really working on those lower chakras, the root, sacral chakra, solar plexus. There's also a lot of creators here on YouTube, beautiful channels that have sound bowls healings, right? Sound bowl healings, certain frequencies that you can listen to. Chanting can also be another thing that helps you to tune the chakras. Okay, going to attending a sound bowl class. Using tuning forks for those of you that have your own tuning forks or you're interested in using them. I'm going to show you in case you guys don't know what they are. I have one here. Okay. This one is a master fork, 128 hertz. But basically you hit the end of it and you can see it kind of, I don't know if it's going to show it, but you can see it vibrating. Right? So it has a certain frequency. This little ball you can put on your certain areas of your body where you're helping. And of course you could put it on your body parts, right? Your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, your root chakra. But sound bowls are also really good, okay, for you to use as well. Singing, right, also helps you to ground. Chanting, humming, meditations, right? Music can also be something that really helps you as well. Dancing, exercising can be something very helpful there as well. Okay? Because that's when this change is going to happen for you. Because you're open to shifting. You're open to flowing. You're not resisting. You're not holding yourself back. You're not being weighed down by all of this other stuff energetically. And that is when you're going to start to improve, right? To feel in the flow, because now you're ready. Now you're ready to receive it. You're ready to move towards the things that you want, that you desire. But it first starts within you. Okay? All right. So that is all that I have for you, group 2. I do hope this reading was helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Hi, group 3. So those of you that resonate with the yellow fluorite and the message from afar, this is going to be a reading. And I'm kind of feeling this message from afar could very well be the spirit world. Your spirit team, your ancestors, your passed on loved ones, your higher self. So let's take a look. We're going to pull some more oracle cards here. Our topic today is how can you find happiness and fulfillment? Let's see. And I do have 3 decks mixed together. For those of you that want to know what decks they are, I always list the decks I'm using in the description box for you guys. So how can you find happiness and fulfillment, group 3? How can you find happiness and fulfillment? How can group 3 find happiness and fulfillment? This makes me feel, with the amount of time here that I'm having to spend to get these cards out, that maybe many of you have been feeling unhappy for a long time, feeling unfulfilled for a long time. Maybe even like thinking to yourself, what is going to make me happy? You know, maybe feeling like you don't even have the answer. You don't know what it is. We have embracing change, number 43. It says, with every loss, I understand that something new is about to be birthed beyond what I can imagine. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? We have celebration, golden memories. Some of you, I feel like you have, I don't feel like this is everyone, but I'm definitely feeling an energy here of dealing with grief over loss, okay? Perhaps it's somebody that's passed away that was very special to you. Whether it's a pet or a person. Just kind of feeling like after that you feel, like you don't feel the same. Okay. We have the golden path and love. Embracing change. With every loss, I understand that something new is about to be birthed beyond what I can imagine. Okay, let's pull your tarot. I want to see where Spirit is taking this. Maybe some of you have a difficult time with change. Because we're asking, how can you find happiness and fulfillment? And this is Spirit basically saying, embrace change, celebrate it. You know, trust in your path, connect into your heart space. Let's see. How can you find happiness and fulfillment, group 3? I feel for some of you with this message from afar, are some of you seeking for signs outside of yourself, or validation outside of yourself, or approval outside of yourself, of your choices, of your path. Let's see. We have the Knight of Cups, the King of Pentacles, the Two of Wands. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? Yeah, I feel like some of you might have a difficult time with endings, with change, or even starting new things. Beginning new things can be a little bit of a challenge. To allow yourself even to look at endings in a way that it is an opportunity for a new beginning, right? In the way that this card is kind of describing that. I feel like there's also a need for kind of looking at the law of impermanence, understanding that, right? That things do change. We change. Others change. Life changes. And sometimes we try to hold on to what is comfortable, what is familiar. And sometimes being in that space doesn't really allow us to experience new things in our life, that we get so caught up in things always staying the same, that change is hard for us. Letting go is hard for us. You know? But I feel like this is also embracing the change within you, knowing that your soul wants to grow. Your soul wants to evolve. Your soul does want to experience new things, right, in life, and try new things and do new things and find things that truly excite you and light you up. But I feel like we often limit ourselves and hold ourselves back from those experiences and those opportunities. We're not meant to stay in one place, right? We're meant to venture outward. We're meant to journey. We're meant to explore and recognize the freedom that we have in doing so. It's the mind that limits us, right? That tells us you cannot do this, you cannot do that, I can't do this, I can't do that. How can you find happiness and fulfillment? The Emperor in reverse. I definitely feel like Spirit is saying to you here that you do need to step into that leadership role of the Emperor. Step up and lead. Step up and take control. This is about you reclaiming your power. You know, some of you may lack confidence in yourself. You may be holding on to old belief systems. Some of you may have some blockages surrounding your masculine energy. Okay. You might be someone who thinks of, amazing ideas and feel inspired, but it's about executing those ideas. It's about discipline, organization, structure, foundation, and form that we're bringing to those ideas. This is about getting things done, right? And so the Emperor in reverse can certainly be a block within the masculine energy. This is about being assertive, standing up for yourself. It's about taking the lead, forging a new path. This is Aries energy, right? You being the leader here. You leading your life into a place of wherever that might guide you and lead you towards your fulfillment, right? You're in control. You're in the driver's seat. The Two of Pentacles is about making choices. It's about weighing your options. You have the Two of Wands here, which is about making plans. So some of you might say, oh, I want to do that. I want to do this. But then you don't do it, right? And we've all been guilty of doing that. I know I've done that plenty of times in my own life. I think of awesome ideas in the past where I've let this really happen to me a lot. before I healed, before I started to take control of my life again, right? Which didn't happen until I was almost 40 years old, but um I remember it, and it was kind of crippling, where there was so many things I wanted to do and I didn't do them. I've known plenty of friends and family members that I hear them when I'm around them. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna do this next year. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I have this plan. I want to do this," but it never comes to fruition because there's no action that's being taken. Okay, so the King of Pentacles energy is about being resourceful. It's about being practical with your choices, right? With the things that you're working towards manifesting. It also requires a lot of discipline, organization, commitment, dedication, that you have to what your heart's desires are. Because I'm seeing the Knight of Cups here, how this rainbow that kind of looks like it's coming right out of her heart space up into the ethers, into the spirit world, the universe. And this to me here with all these little yellow circles that are coming out here out of the king, all those pentacles. And this kind of reminds me a little bit of like a chessboard. And so there's a need here for us being strategic, right? With what seeds you're planting and nurturing those seeds, committing yourself, dedicating your time, your effort, your energy, and consistency to building up a certain level of security. For some of you, it could be creating wealth, creating abundance. But we've got to start somewhere, right? So let's see. We've got the wands here. There's no swords. There's no swords here. The swords are about the thoughts, the ideas. It can also talk about actions, but there's no swords here. So we got the cups, the hearts, the feelings, the emotions, the intuition. This is grounding this into the physical with the pentacles energy. The fire is here, but it's in reverse, right? The Emperor's in reverse. This is Aries energy. And then you got the Two of Wands, which is about planning something, making choices, being at the crossroads, choosing your path, choosing your direction. So I feel like for some of you, this could be Spirit saying, okay, well, how can I find happiness and fulfillment? Spirit could literally be asking you, well, what do you want? Have you decided? Right? Remember how I was having trouble here with the cards actually coming out when we're asking Spirit, how can group 3 find happiness and fulfillment? Like I said, maybe for some of you, it's like you don't even know what it looks like. What's going to make me happy? What do I desire? What do I want? Some of you could very well be in that mindset of thinking, I'll be happy when this happens. I'll be happy when that happens. And then that happens and you're still not happy, right? It happens to all of us. We've all been there, done that. I'm seeing the moon at the bottom, the Three of Pentacles, the Ace of Cups, the Page of Wands, and the High Priestess, which is your intuition. Nine of Wands. Okay, well, the moon energy does bring in a lot of uncertainty, a lot of doubt, a lot of fears, a lot of insecurities, a lot of fear of the unknown. Where is this path going to lead me? Is this path going to lead to my happiness? Am I going to feel fulfilled if I choose this? So you might be kind of stuck, indecisive, not taking action, because you're worried that whatever you choose what if it's wrong? What if I make the wrong choice? Right? That's what comes with the moon energy, confusion. Because we don't know what that path is going to lead to. We don't know. We have to just, right, take that first step, forge that path, and choose what we want along the way. And sometimes we're too afraid to do that. Because we want to know exactly, if I do this, it's going to lead to this. Our mind wants to rationalize and make it make sense and know that if I do XYZ, it's going to lead me to this. And if we don't know if it will or not, that's when we get stuck, right? Indecisive, not choosing, going back and forth between two different things. It could be like a place that you live, you know, like you say, oh, well, I really want to live in this place in the world, but if I move there, you know, what kind of a job that I have? These are the opportunities that are available over there. But if I move over here, these are the opportunities that are available over there. This is the cost of living. This is how much, this is what kind of houses they have. This is what's over here. What do I want more? You know, all of that kind of comes into play here. So the Three of Pentacles is about working towards laying the groundwork for a solid foundation. Okay, this might even be connecting with others, collaborating with others. Maybe this means that when we are feeling confused, that we have friends around us that we can say, hey, what do you think about this idea? Here's what I'm thinking over here. Here's what I'm thinking about this idea over here. You know, some of you might be questioning changing jobs, changing career paths, moving into entrepreneurship. You know, different things like that are important decisions for you. I kind of feel that those of you that chose this pile, you know, you could want to be more independent or free. Because the King of Pentacles could certainly be boss energy, so can the Emperor. And then the Three of Pentacles can be a card of entrepreneurship. Okay. But the Three of Pentacles is about collaborating with others. So how can you find happiness and fulfillment? King of Pentacles is also about using your resources. So some of you could have friends around you, people who know people. You know, you could, like, say, really have an idea of a dream job or a dream position that you want. And, you know, the King of Pentacles is about you connecting with other people, building relationships with others, right? So when you were using our resources and there's something that we want to do, you're like, oh, I know somebody who could help me. I know this person over there. It's like you really working towards building relationships and connections with other people so that when you do need something or something comes up, you know exactly who to go to, right? This is also about investing your time, your money, your energy into things that are going to be rewarding for you. Whether it's a job, a career, a relationship. Are you receiving what you need from that friendship, from that job, from that career field? Is it helping to elevate you? Is it helping to inspire you to be the best version of yourself? Is it providing the opportunities that you need for your growth? Are you being challenged in the way that you need to step up into that next level version of yourself, right? So again, all embracing change. Ace of Cups, new beginnings. This could be listening to your heart more, right? Tuning into your intuition. The Page of Wands is about exploring, adventure, excitement, enthusiasm, pursuing a passion that you have, traveling, adventure. You know, for some of you, it could be getting out more. How can you find more happiness and fulfillment? Explore, right? Meet people, connect with people, surround yourself with people who are going to make you feel good, right? Uplift you. We have celebration here, so maybe for some of you, and also golden memories, the golden path, it just kind of makes me feel that you're surrounding yourself with people that add value to your life, you know, that give you a reason to celebrate because you have friends that are amazing, you have an amazing partner, you have amazing family, okay? Sometimes. And if not, right, your friends can be people who you bring closer to you and they are your family. You know, sometimes we have family members that are not very healthy to be around, and there might need to be some boundaries there. But this could even be setting certain milestones for yourself, certain little small goals that you have, and celebrating those, celebrating yourself, you know? So I want to clarify this Emperor in reverse. There's the Three of Pentacles. The Eight of Cups. And the Strength card. Yeah, so some of you are needing to work on your being brave, being more courageous, being more confident in yourself, believing in yourself, trusting in your gifts, your talents, your skills. The Eight of Cups is also, for some of you, having the strength to let go of or walk away from things, people, situations that are not bringing you happiness, that are not making you feel fulfilled. Right? Again, embracing change here. If we're looking at our life right now and there's certain things that we're not happy with, what are we doing to change it? Okay. Let's look at this Two of Wands. The Sun. The Four of Cups. Yep. So Four of Cups energy, Two of Swords. That's being indecisive, confused, conflicted. Two different thoughts, ideas, and not knowing which one to choose. The Four of Cups is when we are also distracted. We could be distracted. It can be that we are missing out on opportunities. We're turning down opportunities that are right there. Now here I like the way that the Sun card is depicted because she's facing the sun. The Sun card is about joy. It's about happiness. It's about abundance and prosperity, success, enlightenment. There's also a Sun here in the Strength card, but it's about enlightenment. This is Spirit asking you to really look within yourself. Take some time to think about it. What types of things would I like to experience in my life? What brings me joy? What things make me happy? And then let's go in that direction. Let's be brave enough and courageous enough to go after that. The Sun is also a card about your life force, your vitality. You know, sometimes when we go through a lot of things in life, we might feel really blocked. We might feel like our light is getting so dim. Our inner fire, our inner light. Right? And the way that we kind of reignite it could be through change, right? Because it kind of like brings a big shock to the system to kind of go through and do something scary and just kind of go for it. And it's something that kind of fuels that fire. It could also be surrounding yourself with people, again, like I was saying earlier, that inspire you. Surround yourself with people that inspire you to be the better version of yourself. People that you look up to. People that live the life you want to live. Ask them questions. Get to know them, right? Collaborate. Hey, how did you get that job? How did you do all this? How did you make it happen? What kind of things did you have to do? What were your steps, right? Ask questions. I always feel like, even if it's not a whole group of people, even if it's just one person you have in your life that you, not so much that you look at them with envy, because envy really indicates feeling lack within ourselves, but more so that inspires you in a positive way that you're just like, wow. You have that one friend in your life that their life is like amazing, and you're just like, we don't have to make our life a clone of what that other person's is, but it can certainly be something that inspires you to do something like that for yourself with whatever your path might look like. But it's just maybe the the guidance that they could give you, the wisdom that they can share with you about how they pushed past their fear, about how they took the risk, about how they did the research, you know, whatever it might be, so that you kind of feel like this light just growing inside of you that's like ready to go. So I would definitely recommend taking some time to think about what things bring a smile to your face when you think about them. And if you don't know what those things are, this is where self-discovery comes in. Spend that time, because this is your life, right? This is your life. You're in control. You decide what you're doing, where you're going, you know, and I'm sure that you know when change is needed. Because if you're not feeling happy, if you're not feeling fulfilled, know that there are opportunities available to you. This is all in our perspective, that there are opportunities available for you to make those changes. Okay, so think about what lights you up. Listen to your heart. You've got love here. Look at this beautiful heart that's here. The Knight of Cups with that rainbow that's just kind of coming right out of it there. I want to look at this message from afar here. The Three of Wands. Okay. See. Oh, okay. I see what Spirit's saying here. Three of Wands, Six of Wands. And I'm just noticing again, the only swords that showed up was the Two of Swords. So what you need is your vision. What's the vision? Look at how this sun is right in the middle of like the third eye here. Again, this person's looking at the sun. What do you envision for yourself? When you think about your life and what you want to experience in your future, what is the vision? Is this person wearing clothes? No. When you think about that, right, the future, the Three of Wands is about foresight, thinking ahead, planning ahead, envisioning something. It's also about taking the first step to whatever that new path is. Let's see. And this person is inside of a little box here in this Ten of Swords. I'm going to show you right now. They're in a box. That's confined. That's limiting. The Ten of Swords is not a good swords card, okay? Neither is the Two of Swords. But I mean, it can be. The Two of Swords can be. Because there's a need when we're feeling confused or conflicted to find balance in the mind, right? Sort through, organize our thoughts. Listen to our intuition. But the Ten of Swords is when we're thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking and wearing ourselves out mentally, drained, exhausted. And it looks, because she's in the box here, it's kind of like all the thoughts are limiting. Like she cannot get herself out of the box. She can't envision herself being outside of where she's at right now. So with the swords missing, basically, right? Your Three of Wands is about you envisioning the future. Six of Wands is about success. It's about victory, celebration, right? So the message from afar, to me now, looking at this is your future self. Your future version of self. What do you envision for yourself, for your future? What does that vision look like? What's in it? What are you doing? Where do you work? Where do you live? What kind of friendships do you have? What kind of relationships do you have? What What do you drive? What do you eat every day? What does your life look like? So I feel like Spirit is, the message from afar is connecting to that future aspect of yourself. Where do you envision yourself? What do you want? What do you desire? And this is more or less for you to think outside the box. And again, this goes into this Emperor in reverse, where you could be stuck in old ways of thinking, old patterns, and needing to change that, needing to break free from that, because it's keeping you inside the box, right? Embracing change. We're not letting ourselves grow here. We're keeping ourselves inside that box. So this could be a lot of self-sabotaging thoughts, a lot of self-limiting beliefs, a lot of thinking about all the reasons why we can't do something. It's a very confined space, right? We're not allowing ourselves to grow, to journey. Here, even in this Three of Wands card, this person's like sitting down, right? They're not up and ready to go. Neither is this Emperor. Emperor's in reverse. It's blocked. Right? So it could even be like having the passion, the feeling, right, with the fire energy here, behind, I want this, I desire this, but then not with the swords. We need the focus. We need the vision. We need the mind to be on board, where we can take that vision and bring it into the physical, right? With the King of Pentacles, right? So the King of Pentacles is very practical with where he's putting his pentacles, right? But if we can't even come to a place in our mind where we can imagine ourselves actually doing that, right? Because here she's in the box. So you need to envision yourself doing it, getting it done. What do I need to do, right? This is organizing and preparing the mind to say, okay, this is my vision. This is what I want. This is what would make me feel happy and fulfilled. This is my dream. We need the vision. We need the focus. We need the mind to be on board, to organize the thoughts, come up with some kind of strategy, right? If that Emperor is in reverse, where's the strategy? Where's the discipline? Where's the organization? Where's the decisive action that is needed? So, let's see. What do I want to do with this? Let's ask Spirit here. What is this celebration for? Celebrate what? Temperance. Temperance. Temperance is also patience, manifestation, change. Temperance is also about change. We're changing energy, transmuting energy. Celebrate change. Celebrate change. So maybe for some of you, like I said, maybe change is something that is hard for you, that you can't see yourself doing. You can't see beyond your current situation. It seems like it's just not going to happen for you, right? Sometimes we get stuck in a certain way of living, a certain way of doing. We're just like, oh yeah, that would be really cool if I was able to do that, but I'm not lucky. I guess I can never make that life happen for me. It's just not in the cards for me, right? That's all that limited thinking, right? It's thinking small, keeping ourselves small, not believing that you can have what you dream of. And so the mind holds you back and says, yeah, you're right. You'll fail anyways. You're not going to do that. You won't be good at it anyways. You might as well not try. Might as well not do it. Might not work out for you. You probably won't be happy anyway, so just forget it. Right? All those things the mind tells us. fear, celebration spirit. Knight of Swords. The Tower. Yes, we like this. Okay. So, yeah, the Tower is things being broken down. The old structures. Your box, your old box. Okay? We don't want the box there anymore. The box needs to go. Group 3. The Tower helps you to realize that you're keeping yourself in the box. The Tower is divine intervention. The Tower happens to create upheaval in our life, to force us to change, to force us to move, especially if we've been stagnant, right? Like, let's just say we have a job, and that job is something that we are not supposed to be at. Maybe it's not our destiny, and the universe is like, will you go already? Will you move? You're supposed to be over here. But we're just like, I'm too afraid. I can't see myself getting outside of that box and in that new dream job position, or pursuing that path, or living in that place, or opening myself up to this kind of friendships or relationships. I can't see beyond my limited thinking, right? The Tower helps to kind of give your world a shakeup. And sometimes we're so much holding on to the old things, we don't want to let go. We try to hold on for dear life. We resist change. We try to hold on to things, people, situations, places, because the change makes us uncomfortable. It's scary, right? What's going to happen now? And when the Tower comes in, it helps to break down illusions. We may have thought that that old foundation of what we built was something that we were going to have for a long time, or we might even be thinking it was the right thing for us, and the universe is like, nope, try again. Try again. That's not it. That's not quite it. The Tower comes in to help to redirect us towards our destiny. And sometimes when upheaval happens, we try for dear life, right? Imagine that you're in that little box and the Tower energy comes and it's trying to rattle and shake your little box, and it's tearing the corners off, and you're just like, no, this is my box. I'm happy here. I'm comfortable here in my box. And the universe is like, but what you are looking for is out here. It's outside the box. Don't you see? So the Tower tries to help to give us some type of epiphany, a realization. It can also bring in disillusionment, right? Or something that we once thought was our happiness, our joy, our fulfillment, and we recognize it's not. And it means that we need to change. The Knight of Swords is being brave, being courageous, and focus. Going after something, taking action in a way where we have our eye on the prize, we know what we want, and we're not afraid of going after it, right? Right through that new doorway that brings in all of these opportunities. Okay, let's look at this Ten of Swords. Queen of Cups. Page of Cups. And the Five of Pentacles. That will stop you right in your tracks, won't it? Five of Pentacles energy is about scarcity mindset, poverty consciousness, feeling helpless, an energy of despair, unworthiness, feeling insecure, feeling like we don't have the resources. I really want to do this, but I don't have the money. I really want to make this happen, but I don't have the money. Or I don't have this. I don't have that. Right? We get stuck in that way of thinking. But the truth is, you're the King of Pentacles here. You are resourceful. You do have the resources, right? This again was where Spirit was asking you to start connecting with others, start collaborating with others. Maybe it's new people, new friends, new businesses. It's kind of like you going around and getting the information that you need to make happen what you need to make happen. The truth is, there are resources. The universe will provide for you as you take steps towards aligning with your destiny, right? The universe wants to give to you these things, whatever they might be, that your soul came here to experience and to align with. But if we keep ourselves in that box and say, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, this keeps us in a certain frequency of energy, which does not match the energy frequency of, say, the other thing. Two different energies, right? The universe responds to what our vibration is. So if we believe we're unworthy, there's no resources, it's never going to happen for us, we can't do it because of these reasons, then we won't experience it. We're keeping ourselves in the box. So the Queen of Cups here is about you looking deeply into your intuition, your inner knowing. The Page of Cups asks you to step into the space of your inner child, beginner's mind, creative inspiration. The Page of Cups is a very dream-like energy. It's about imagination and creativity. When we are disconnected from the inner child, right? We have our adult, sometimes very fear-based ego mind that limits us. Because the childlike version of ourself believes we can do anything. Can imagine you doing or creating, something amazing. The inner child believes in itself, believes that anything is possible, and believes that it has infinite potential within the self. It is our adult version of self that has been conditioned, that has listened to other people's opinions and societal beliefs, culture, religion, traditional values, morals, belief systems that have all shaped us into a certain way of thinking, a certain way of being. And sometimes that is very rigid. It keeps us in a very rigid way of thinking. So this is about helping you to connect back into your childlike version of self that believes in you, that has a wild imagination and believes that it can do anything, that anything is possible. But it's about you stepping into that leadership position, taking control back of your life, and discipline, organization, hold the vision. What is the vision? What do you imagine yourself doing? This is also about imagining yourself being successful in doing so. Holding the feeling of what it feels like, where you picture yourself and imagine like, wow, you did it. Right? Allow your body to feel that excitement and that enthusiasm and the thoughts and the ideas. And let your body get used to that feeling of feeling excited about that change or excited about that new thing that is going to bring in happiness and fulfillment for you, and be brave enough to go after it. Focus, right? Like that Knight of Swords. And if something is being removed, a person, a situation is being removed from your life, let it go. This is in a way that the divine is helping to shift you. Bottom of the deck, we've got the Page of Pentacles and the Eight of Wands. So, and then the star is under here. The star, that's important. And the Fool. Okay. So, Page of Pentacles is feeling the eagerness to plant the seed for something new, investing your seed, your pentacle, right? The Eight of Wands is about putting energy in motion. The star is about your destiny, It's about having trust, having faith, believing in yourself. Here's the leap, right? With the Fool energy, leaping into the unknown. The Fool also is about infinite potential, unlimited possibilities, right? So when we ask here, how can you find happiness and fulfillment? Allow yourself to journey. Allow yourself to try new things. Start believing in yourself. Start believing that your dreams are possible, because this is Spirit believing in you and wanting to help you to align with what you really want to experience, to bring you that fulfillment, whatever that might mean to you. You have control here. You have the power to take your own golden path that's being illuminated for you. All it needs is for you to align with that. The vision, the passion, the heart, the feelings, the emotions, and bringing that into the physical manifestation. So that is all that I have for you, Group 3. I do hope this is helpful for you guys, and I will see you in the next reading.